Hey church family, it's Ben. I just wanted to give you an update on where we are as a church. Yesterday was a big day for the church in Anne Arundel County. Stuart Pittman relaxed some regulations, some restrictions really, on the church. And so now we feel like we're in a better position to move forward. So let me just say this from the onset. We don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, okay? We're always going to glorify God. We're always going to make disciples. We're always going to tell people about Jesus Christ and his love. But right now, we aren't 100% sure on how we're going to do that moving forward as a church. Partly because we didn't know what we could do. Now there's some freedom in the restrictions. But the other part is, honestly, there's just no blueprint for this. There's no Bible passage that says this is how you come back from a worldwide pandemic. And so we are beginning the journey now to figure out what our church is going to do and what we're going to look like moving forward. And in that, I want to make it clear that we're going to do this together, or at least I'm inviting us to do this together. So you and I are part of a church family, and we need to move together and move forward as a church family. And so if you wonder how you can do that, I have 4 points for you, 4 suggestions for you. Sorry if it sounds like a mini sermon. First one is communication. Communicate. I was told early on in ministry that whatever your communication is, triple it. So I'm asking you to do that as well. Please communicate with your church family, not in a gossipy way, but in a helpful way. Also, please communicate with your church leaders. Okay, you might have the best idea for our church moving forward, but we can't know that unless you share it. There might be some things that we don't understand, some fears and anxieties that you may have, some frustrations or some excitements that you have. We can't know about those things unless you share them. So please, moving forward, communicate. Secondly is participation. Just think about this term, all hands on deck. Okay, I don't know if you were super involved before or weren't involved at all on Sunday mornings. We are inviting you, we're asking you, we're begging you that everybody would be participating in what we're doing as a church. So there's a lot of different jobs that are going to be going around, but we're inviting you, asking you that you would participate. We're asking that you would commit and that you would be dependable in the things that God has put on your heart to do. So number 1, communication. Number 2, participation. Number 3, consideration. Philippians 2:3 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition, but rather consider others more significant than yourself. Please consider everybody else in your church family. We have got some old folks and we've got some young folks. We've got some pregnant ladies, we've got some babies, we've got middle schoolers, we've got high schoolers, we've got people in every different demographic of life. And so they all have unique needs and desires and challenges. And so I'm asking you that you would consider everybody else in your church. You have unique desires and needs, and so does somebody else. So consideration. Please consider everybody else in your church family. And number 4, accommodation. Okay, accommodation. Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. Think about this term when we think about accommodation. Trial and error. We are going to do some things that are going to be great, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. But we're going to do some other things that you're going to be like, that's a terrible idea, and it really failed. That's why it's called trial and error. And so we're going to try some things and do different things, and they may be really awesome or they may be really terrible. But we have to be willing to be flexible during this time. The Apostle Paul, who spent time in jail, spent time in churches, spent time in synagogues, spent time doing all different kinds of things. He said in Philippians chapter 4, he said that no matter the situation, I have learned that I am to be content. Whether I'm in a jail cell or a boat or a church, I'm going to be content. He says, I'm good. So I'm going to ask that you would have that same kind of heart, that no matter if your chairs are in a different location, that if people are meeting in different times in different places, that you would have a content heart and say, hey, look, we're just trying to glorify God the best that we can during this time. So, communication, participation, consideration, accommodation. If we agree and commit to those things, then I think we will move forward in a really healthy and biblical way as a church. And we will glorify the name of God. So I'd invite you to come alongside of us on this journey to figure out what our future looks like. Thanks.